here. So my next question is, how can faith, culture, and therapy work together? Are we able to pray? You know how some people say, oh, I have faith. I'm just going to pray this out of my kid. I'm just like, how do you see all this coming together? So I know this might be a sensitive topic for Christians. You know, some Christians will say, let's just pray about it. And some people don't believe in, therapy. Some people don't believe in medication. So what do you think? How do you think all this come together?
Answer that question. Well, faith, culture, and therapy, right? Um,
Correct.
and I think I gave example earlier. I think they both. I'm going to use myself to speak on this because I'm Christian. You know, I am 100% of therapeutic intervention. I'm 100% of holistic worldviews. As a matter of fact, my holistic worldview, like I told you earlier, I'm a Christian. God led me to this field. So that nuances around, oh no, there's nothing that's called as therapy, right? Like in the Christian view, some Christian views as actually they've also made therapeutic intervention to be a curse, a taboo. But thank God for people like Pastor Lumide Michael. Thank God for people like Christian Bature. These are men of God. Thank God for Pastor Jesus, Apostle Emmanuel, Femi Lazarus.
Yeah.
These are men of God that understand the lens of mental wellness. That yes, someone can be Christian and be seriously under the pressure of mental illness. And why praying is inevitable. You also need to get intervention. Now, let me ask you a question. We have clients, and so it's so funny, you know. And I'm going to use scenarios where I've not even been having this conversation about it. When I used to be an insurance agent, the same kind of nonsense. Like people will tell you, "Oh no, I don't believe in life insurance policy," right? Then I asked them. I said, "Do you have car insurance? Do you get in your car and said, oh, you know what? I'm not going to get my car insurance because God is going to save me." Like, don't let us be ignorant of the devices of our enemy. You know you have to have a life insurance policy. You know you have to take your blood pressure medicine. I mean, pills. You know you got to measure your, the blood pressures, right? We cannot overemphasize the importance of the preventive measures. Why the holistic is on the side. Like my pastor always say, listen, I'm not telling you not to take pills. I'm a pharmacy. But I will tell you, there's a level of faith that you get to that you now say, you know what, I only want to stick to my faith base. If you're not there yet, oh boy, don't let nobody tell you. I am in 100%, like those great men of God like I mentioned, someone's having an addiction. Listen, prayer is spiritual. You know what? One thing God told me, God said to me, said, never ever you leave your house and go into any workspace without declaring, without tuning the word. What God was trying to tell me is you need to pray and be charged. But God is still sending me to that field. Do you understand? And that's why I remember when I began this field, like I told you, I just shifted into this for maybe in the last 5 years, right? Um, I remember like I can see any client, my dear sister. You know why? Because I have the backing of the Holy Spirit of God leading me into any of I've seen kids that were hitting, kids that the cops will be called for, right? So I'm saying this to tell you that if God is not in this story, why is he sending someone like me? Why is he sending people, many other men of God and some other sisters that I know that are into this? You know what? Majority of the therapists that I see in this field are mostly in the Christian worldviews. They're Christians, they're pastors. So it's a ministry work. I tell people, listen, even in my job, everybody knows. I'm like, this job to me is a ministry work.